Hey everyone, welcome to my Cimarrona YouTube channel. In my first video, I showed you how to make, which was also the last video, first video, I showed you how to make a little flower pin. We went through the process of cutting up a sweater and how you get these rope-like pieces that we're using, so you can refer back to that video to get that information. We're starting today with a leaf shape. One 6-inch length of the rope-like piece that we talked about in that first video, and one 10-inch piece. So we've got two contrasting colors, a leaf shape. We have about 36 inches doubled, threaded onto a nice needle. And then I also have a button that I'm going to use as the embellishment instead of beads, but you can use beads if you prefer. And I'm going to also sew on the pin back this time so you can see how the pin back gets attached. We start this one just by coming up through the underneath side of the leaf, right up in the very center. Well, so I say that. My knot didn't hold, so I'm just going to make a loop here and that'll hold it. In fact, I'm going to go through one more time to make that a little extra secure. So we have our thread coming up through the leaf. Now, just as in the video before, we're going to go and very carefully run our thread through the core of the shorter of the two pieces. So I'm running the needle up through the core, taking it about an inch at a time. And take care of your fingers. Don't let your fingers get in the way of the needle. Believe me, I've done that a number of times the wrong way. So I'm just trying to save you that pain and discomfort. So I'm going up through the core. And now I'm going to come out the other end. So I've basically threaded that core onto my thread. You're going to pull that all the way down to your leaf, and then you're going to twist and coil it into your center. And go ahead and fiddle around with it until it makes a shape that you pretty much like. If you can see that okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and secure it by going right down through the end, coming up on the other side, and make about 4 or 5 stitches like this to secure that. So that's about the very center of your flower, your rosette flower. And by itself, it's a little rosette already. It has that spirally rose shape right there. Now, once you've secured that with several stitches, you're going to come back up to where you left off. And this time, you're not going to go all the way through the core. What you're going to do is secure one end, by making several stitches. And then we're going to do this a little bit differently. We're going to twist it and then go under the leaf part and then come back up. We're going to twist it a couple of times and roll that, and then come to the underneath side of the leaf and then back up through your contrasting color. We're going to twist it. Each time you twist it, it makes a little loop that looks like a petal. We're going to go back under and then up. And you're going to keep this twisting and stitching step until you've gone all the way around. Twist. And stitch. Twist. And stitch. And if there's some at the end of it, you can just give it another little twist and go underneath that first petal and come up and then back down through. So there's the basic part of your flower. And I'm going to go about where my knot was tied and then come up through the center for one of our final details. The final detail will be the button that gives it a little bit of blinginess. So I'm sewing a vintage button that I had in my button stash. Oops, sorry. Stitching it down several times to the center. I picked a color that also echoed the design a little bit. It's got a little core of sort of a rust color. I'd give it 3 or 4 stitches just to make sure it's nice and secure. I think you can hopefully see how I'm doing that. So we've got the button secured. You could always use beads if you'd prefer to use beads to embellish the very center of your rosette. I'm going to once again tie a knot on the back to secure that. And now the very last thing, and I didn't show you this on that first video, but I'm going to go ahead right now and attach a pin back to this. So I have my pin back, and you can buy these at any of the craft stores. This one is about 1 inch long. I'm going to come up through the hole in the pin back with my thread. Let me get this where you can see it. And I'm going to make a couple of stitches on each side of that to secure it. I'm using a pretty strong polyester thread, so it's not likely to wear through. It's also smooth, so I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. Then just go under to the other end of your pin back. They may have 3 holes in them for securing. It may just be 2 like this one. And then 2 more stitches on the other side there. I'm going to tie a knot and then I'm going to go through my flower coming out on the other side. Don't poke your fingers. And I'm going to clip it on this side so that the tail of my thread doesn't hang out on the back of the pin. So I have my pin, my rosette pin done, have the pin back on it, and at this point you can decide if you want to leave the leaf shape like it is. As you can see on this one, I serrated the edges of the leaf, so I'm going to show you how you can do that. You're just going to take your leaf, and from the tip you're going to make a couple of little cuts in and then go over to that. Take that out. Curve in and then cut over to that and take that out. And this just gives you a variety in the leaf shapes that You might have your pins. If you've made more than one, this gives you just some options there. I think I'll do one more. The great thing about using wool that's been through the washer and dryer is that you have a product that is now like felt. The fibers have all connected to each other, and when you make these cuts, you're not going to see it fraying. I wouldn't suggest doing this to just any fabric because it's going to fall apart and fray, but it does work with your felted wool. So this is just one more thing that you can make out of a felted wool sweater, or actually it's a full wool sweater, but out of a wool sweater that you've washed and dried. If you have any interest in getting a little ready-made kit, just look for the Rosette pin kits, and I have some of those on my Instagram page that will be listed below. And once again, this is Cimarrona.com. That's my website that has more about what I do with wool sweaters. Have a good day.
Perfect.